So now, I like Rachel. I like Rachel when she's not messing with Ross. Don't get me wrong here. Like, I hate Rachel Green when she, in a very specific way. Because if I put it on paper, right? So what happens is Rachel runs away from a freaking wedding day, first of all. That's like the first episode. That's like what sets the story up, right? Okay. Ross pines after her for a year, meets Julie. Rachel systematically sabotages that relationship. I don't care about the fact that he made a list. It really isn't that bad as they try and make it out to be. It's weird. Don't get it wrong. Like, but it's not bad like they made it out to be. Right? Okay. So now she's over him, right? Now she doesn't care about him at all. She sabotaged his relationship though. She broke his relationship with Julie. Very important to remember this. Because that's when it starts. That's when I first go like, okay, that's a bit effed up to do though. Right? Because we spent like 3 or 4 episodes. I'm currently there in my rewatch, by the way. We spent like quite a while with this. Okay? What happens next? The lobster episode where they officially start dating. Fantastic. We're happy. They're in a relationship. They're getting along well with each other. Right? Everything goes well. And then she gets her job. And I don't care what anybody says. Ross was right about Mark, right? First of all. And at no point does Rachel actually dissuade or sit down with Ross and be like, listen, honey, it doesn't matter what Mark's intentions is. It doesn't matter how much time I spent with him. I love you. And, you know, she's loyal to him. Because she just completely disregards Ross's previous scars, basically. Because he's had this happen to him before. He has had the thing where his wife met somebody and started hanging out with that person, and his wife turned into a lesbian. He's literally got betrayed once already. And I know that's not baggage necessarily that Rachel must clean up. No, it's not, right? But she has to be cognizant of the fact that clearly it affected him. It changed how he views the world and how he experiences relationships, right? Okay, so now we move on a little bit, and Mark starts, and Rachel really does start spending way too much time, by the way, away from her relationship. Like on their 1-year anniversary, if I'm not mistaken, she chooses not to be with Ross. And it's not, if this was like 2-year or the 3-year, I would have been like, okay, that's a bit weird. But it's their 1-year anniversary. Like, how would you anybody feel if the person that you are dating and getting into a serious relationship with tells you, okay, I'll be home at 6 o'clock tonight, and then at 4:40 they go like, oh, sorry honey, I just couldn't show up, I'm gonna have to miss our anniversary. And then you he did it very weirdly, yes, very overcorrecting way, but he tried to like make the best of it, and she kept pushing him away because she didn't want him in that part of her life, right? Like she was starting to do her dream job, and she was starting to become successful, and she wanted to work hard for it. That is also not an issue. That is fine. That is beautiful. That's fantastic. But she actively makes sure that Ross is not a part of it, right? And then Mark also like quit the job and like left, right? Fantastic. So Mark, her time with Mark should have like actually decreased, but it didn't. It increased. Despite the fact that they no longer worked together, Mark was still actively doing things that took her away from her boyfriend. Like, if I look at it like that, right? Like, if I heard my girlfriend starting a new job, she's working there, she works overtime a lot, and then over the weekends, yes, she's trying to increase her skills, but she's still going out with a guy that I told her I'm uncomfortable with him. Like, should I check it? What just happened? I didn't actually read, right? Like, it was very clear. Like, wait. Hello, residents. We have finally launched a tourism committee to promote a newly discovered mysterious blue hole. Our first event, the jellyfish party, will be held in 3 days. If you know of any restaurant that can serve jellyfish dishes to match the theme, please spread the word. Ooh. Oh, party. Okay, I'll read this in a second, right? I want to continue my rant. So, okay. Ross gets drunk, and I'll be honest here, right? I don't entirely think he cheated on Rachel. Do you want to know why? She tells him that she wants a break from him. Now, I don't care what her intentions were. If you are in a relationship with someone, you just tell them, I want a break. I want a break from you. That is very much saying, I'm thinking of breaking up with you. I'm thinking of ending my relationship with you, right? And then he calls her later that night after making it abundantly clear. Yeah, right. We were on a break, but like, that's not the part that I'm going to focus on. The part I want you to focus on is Ross had made it extremely clear to Rachel that he doesn't like Mark, and he thinks Mark wants to push him out and try and date or whatever Rachel, right? And we learn later on in the series, by the way, that Mark is perfectly happy to just have sex with Rachel. He doesn't want to have a relationship. He just wants to boink her, right? And then after Rachel tells him, I want to take a break from you, from us, who does she invite into her house when she's alone? That very night. The one person on this earth that Ross says he doesn't like. Now, I want you to think about this on the other way. If Rachel had been in the bar and Ross had been home alone, and then Rachel had called him, and in his room she heard another woman speaking, whether she knew her or not, what would have been the reaction? Right? Right? It doesn't, because we as an audience have the benefit of like seeing what actually happens, but you've got to view it from Ross's side. Ross just got told that his girlfriend wants to take a break from him, right? And then she invites the one guy on earth that he doesn't like, and he made it abundantly clear to her that he doesn't like her, into his room, into her room, into her house where she's alone with him. And he's got like a romantic dinner, he's got wine, he's trying to wine and dine her, literally, right? At that moment. So what does Ross do? He goes out with his two best friends on this planet, and he gets shit-faced drunk. Like, it's very clearly made, abundantly clear from Joey and Chandler that Ross was drunk. Like, he wasn't able to even walk straight. And then the copier girl took him home. Again, reverse the roles. If Rachel had been that drunk and taken home by another guy, would it have entirely been, oh yeah, they had sex, or would it have been like something else? Would it have been SA? Because would somebody that is so drunk that they physically black out be able to give proper consent? The answer is very clearly no. It's like a thing. Don't get people so drunk that they can't even think straight, right? Right. And then the next day, Rachel comes back to him, tail between her legs, tries to fix it, and Ross does the wrong thing. He doesn't immediately tell her. But given their experience, right? Right. Right? You know where I'm going here. Okay. So they have the big fight, they break up properly, they like have the next few episodes where they're like at each other's throats for a long time. And this is where I started really disliking how Rachel treats Ross. Because from then on out, she sits back. And if Ross is not in a relationship, she shows no interest in him whatsoever. Not even a little bit. She doesn't do anything. In fact, if he gets even a little bit too clingy to her, she rebukes him. And she sleeps with like everybody. She has relationships, and Ross supports her in her relationships. He really does. Like, he tries to help her at all times, right? Okay, fine, whatever. However, what does she do when Ross is in a relationship? The first big relationship is Bonnie after that, right? The girl that got her head shaved by Rachel. Because the moment they started dating, she started going like, no, she still likes him. She still loves him. She still wants to be with him. And the moment she is assured that Ross and Bonnie is broken up, she writes that 18 pages letter front and back, right? That is very clearly not meant. That is not something that she would have done if she wanted him back and she had forgiven him or like moved on from it, which is what she probably told Ross she did, and Monica she did, right? No, what she did is she waited until he was alone again. She made sure that when she could make sure that Ross is alone again, because she breaks up Ross and Bonnie. And then the very next episode, she makes sure to even tease him about it. She doesn't just go, okay, he read it and agrees with it and moves on with their lives. She actually teases him about it. Right? Like, remember when they're lying in bed together and he goes, oh, all you needed was a little perspective. That's actively teasing him. And this keeps happening. Every single time Ross is in a serious relationship that lasts more than one episode, Rachel Green is there to destroy it. Because she doesn't want anybody else with Ross. But she doesn't want to be with Ross either. Every single time she's supposed to be together, she makes sure she breaks it up. He physically gets married, right, to another woman. And she goes to England to specifically break it off, to specifically stop it, to specifically play mind games with him. Even though they try and make it sympathetic to her, no amount of sad music and like reframing those shots can actually break the fact that she actively tried everything in her power to stop that wedding, right? And the moment that relationship is properly over, she stops. She just doesn't care about him at all. She just starts dating other guys. And what's even worse, right? She doesn't even try to be supportive of him. She teases him about being divorced. Actively teases him. Right? And as he has his mental breakdowns, she doesn't even try to help him. She doesn't like provide any emotional support or try to help him get back on his feet. She actively brings him down every single time. Okay. Whatever. And so it's like now this is when we get into the era where it's Chandler and Monica. Fact fudge, the writers didn't do anything. But the moment Chandler and Monica got married, they started doing the thing again. Where they force Ross and Rachel together without getting them properly together. And Rachel wants Ross there because now he's a baby daddy, right? But she refuses to move in with him. She refuses to start a relationship with him. She refuses any help that he can actually provide. Instead, what does she do? She starts pining off the Joey Tribbiani. And she starts playing with Joey's head as well, by the way. That's why Joey started having feelings for her. Because I'm very sure she did it all on purpose. She needed to live with freaking Ross at this point, but she doesn't. And eventually, near the end of the pregnancy, she goes, okay, maybe I should move in with Ross. Destroy that relationship. What was her name? Holly? Systematically gets in the way of that. Because, of course, I mean, Ross also got in the way of himself there. That whole Holly was a weird relationship, right? Okay, gives birth to the baby. And you know what's bad? I think it's 2 episodes before the baby gets born. She sits down with Ross and she tells him, I don't want you dating anybody. She's uncomfortable with it. And he says, okay, I understand. I won't date anybody. And the moment the baby is out of her, what does she do? There's no other way for it. She starts puffing gallivanting around. First, it's some random dude at a bar. And the next dude that she's decides to get with is the dude that was literally trying to take her job. Literally the dude trying to take her job. She decides to go after him. She's got Ross. Ross is literally taking care of her child with her. It's his child too, but they live together. They should be in inkling closer to a relationship, and Ross was starting to. Ross had started getting very deep feelings for her again. And what does she do? She rebukes him to the point, and he kicks her out because he's like, I'm done with this. Honestly, he should have been, fuck, I'm done with this. I'm moving to the other side of the country. Not, oh, I'm done with you. I'm done with this situation. And then it happens again. Ross meets the professor lady, the black lady. I can't remember her name. And he starts liking her. But Joey gets her. But whatever. Eventually, they do get together because she realizes that Joey doesn't have the same morals as she does. What does Rachel do? She starts going after freaking Joey. Like, nah, she has feelings for Joey. She totally has feelings for Joey. Right? And then the whole last season happens. So if you want to know, Spirit, that's like, I get why people like Rachel. Rachel without Ross is pretty funny and entertaining and like inspiring. She went from being a waitress to being like a corporate leader in the fashion industry, working for some of the biggest brands on earth, right? But when it comes to Ross, she's the single worst person on earth. For 10 years, she manipulates and plays with him like he's a freaking yo-yo. Rant over. Oh,